Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is October 26, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 171 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all of them pulled up in front of me. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I am not an immigration attorney. All the information that is provided in these videos are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Lana1842. Hello, I filed form I-130 for my adult son when I was a permanent resident of the US. Okay, so permanent resident for the adult son, so we're talking about the F2B. I recently became a US citizen and I need to change my status. Okay, so you want to change it to F1. Form I-130 was approved almost a year ago. It says that the case is approved and closed, but wasn't transferred to NVC because my form I-824 action, which I additionally submitted because I didn't provide the address on form I-130, hasn't yet been processed. I see. Please tell me, can I change my status now? If so, how? Or should I wait until my I-130 is sent to NVC? Thanks in advance for your answer. Lana, thank you very much for the questions. That's really interesting situation. So I'm kind of curious why you had to submit the I-824 just for the address. I mean, you do say that you didn't provide the address on form I-130, so I'm assuming like you did not put the address at all. So I'm thinking the AR, the AR11 or whatever the form is for the change of address were not sufficient in your case, so you had to submit the I-824. Regardless though, because it is still with USCIS, you really have two options. You can either contact USCIS, send a cover letter, and have them update, but honestly, I am leaning towards more the second option. But again, this is really a personal, opinion. You can do however you think works best, whatever you think is right. But honestly, I would rather wait for USCIS to send the case to NVC first, because most of the times NVC, they will reach out on their own and tell you, hey, we see that your status changed. You're no longer permanent resident. Do you want us to update? Most of the times they do it themselves. So in that situation, you just select yes and say, yep, update the status to F1, and that's it, good to go. Okay. Instead of sending it right now to USCIS, and the reason why I'm saying is because you already sent something for them to update the case. Do you really want to slow down your case and send another cover letter to them, to which they will get on time or will not get on time, potentially creating some kind of confusion? Yeah, probably not. Because honestly, at the end of the day, whether it's F2B or F1, that's another thing that I wanted to kind of add to my answer to your question. It really doesn't matter that much, because if we look at the visa bulletin right now, F2B, honestly, right now F2B is doing better than F1. F2B is doing better because F2B priority date that is current as of right now, as of November 2023, is in September 2015 versus F1, which is in January 2015. So F2B is actually like no, my math is horrendous. Sorry, it's like 9 months almost. No, actually more than that, 9 months, because it's 22nd September, so it's almost October. So almost 10 months ahead of F1. So honestly, as of right now, you probably don't even want to switch from the F2B to F1. So I will leave it up to you, of course. This is, again, like I said, this is your personal. What I would do is I would keep checking the visa bulletin, depending on when the priority date is for you, because it's still with USCIS. It means priority date probably somewhere in 2022, maybe early 2023. Might be a little bit earlier, because I mean, we're talking about F1, F2B, so it might be a little bit earlier. But regardless, whatever, however long you have left to wait on this, on the availability of the immigrant visa, specifically on the backlog, right now F2B is doing better than F1, so you might consider not even trying to change that. So hopefully my answer was helpful. Let me post a response here, and we're going to move on to the next one from Ozigwe Rachel 1021. Hello, we were asked to resubmit a document around July which we did, and they finally replied us early this week and asked us to resubmit another document, which is I-864, and we have done that. My problem now is that I don't know how long this one is going to take before they get back to us this time. Okay, great question, Ozigwa Rachel. I know exactly how it feels. I also had to deal with resubmitting the documents. It is quite annoying. The worst part is that once you do submit it, initially it is reviewed pretty quickly, but once you do the resubmissions, it does take some time for NVC to get to these resubmissions and review them. In my case, it was about 6 months. In your case, you see it was from July. So July, about 3 months till now, right? 3-4 months. So roughly, you can expect about the same time before your updated I-864 is reviewed. And I know it is annoying, but that's just part of the deal. It's part of, becoming documentarily qualified. So for everyone who's watching this video, whenever you are doing the documentary qualification process, whenever you're going through it, make sure to submit to the T exactly what they request. Try to be as because you don't want to, waste time, really. Unnecessary waste time just waiting for them to review the information because of something little. And most of the time it is something really, really, little that just, could have been avoided. So yeah, I would say about another 3-4 months, Ozigwa Rachel, to wait for, another review. Okay, moving further to user JX8NW. Sorry, YouTube does not show me the names anymore, just the handles. Hi sir, my daughter is US citizen. Me and my husband get the email documentarily qualified on August 3, 2023. Okay, congratulations, that's awesome news. How long waiting the medical and interview in US Embassy Manila? Thank you very much. Okay, great question. So I know Manila Embassy is pretty busy. Now, I don't see, let's see, my daughter is a US citizen and my husband get the email documentarily qualified on August. So I'm assuming your daughter, US citizen, petitioned for you parents, both of you, as a petitioner sponsor for you to come to the United States. So if it's a US citizen petitioning for parents, it is immediate relative category, which is great news. You don't have to be dealing with the visa bulletin at all. You don't have to be dealing with a backlog, which means that once your I-130 is approved, your immigrant visa is already available. So now that you're documentarily qualified, that's it. The next step is literally the interview. The immigrant visa is already available. Here's the thing with the US embassies, however, depending on where they are, and yours is in Manila, which is a little bit higher traffic in general, it might take longer. Personally, because I petitioned for my parents, it took about 9 months after they were documentarily qualified for them to get their interview. A lot of times from the comments, judging from the comments that I get on this channel, I see that most of the times immediate relative categories about 6 months. But in a busier area, you can expect it to be longer. You can expect it up to a year. So I would say potentially you might be looking somewhere mid 2024. Best case scenario, early 2024. Normal, probably mid 2024, and then a little extra waiting, the end of 2024. But I wouldn't think that it would go any further. Here's one thing that you can do. You can actually give it, well, you were documentarily qualified in August 3rd. So now it is already, so August is 8th. So almost 3 months have passed. So what I recommend you do now is you can actually call the embassy in Manila, and I'll show you where to find it. You go to, let's see, US Embassy.gov. There you go. And see, sometimes it takes forever to load, like in this case. So I'm gonna try to be productive, and I'll actually post the response here. There you go, it loaded. So we're gonna go to, pretty sure it's Philippines. And there you go, US Embassy in Manila. Here's their phone number. Give them a call, explain the situation, say that you are immediate relative category, that you are already documentarily qualified, and ask them if it's possible for them to give you the interview date, when the interview was scheduled for, because I'm thinking the interview most likely have been already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because they cannot announce the interview date more than 30 days before the actual interview date, just for the medical examination. Sometimes they do 60 days, but most of the times it's 30 days. So let me post this link here. Don't be upset if they don't answer your question and say we can't give you that information. A lot of times that's how it is. But sometimes it works in some situations, and you know it's worth a shot, because if you find out right now that your interview is in, even if it's in mid 2024, that's fine. You know the date. You're just you're doing your thing. You're waiting for the date to come, but you're not in the dark, at least. So it's really nice. It's worth a shot. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Okay, looks like the same thing, so I'm gonna post the same answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Fiandres 5884. Hello sir, I'm back to your episode. I'm from the Philippines, F2A category. We received email from NVC last October 25th, and they said, yesterday, and they say that we now in line waiting for interview. Thanks and God bless. Thank you and God bless. Congratulations. That is absolutely fantastic news. Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Picasso711. It is asking to log in or create an account. Do we have to create an account? Yes, Picasso. So if you are planning to complete an application online, yes, you do need to have an online USCIS account. You do have to register for it. There is no way around it. If you don't want to do that, obviously you have an option to send the application by mail. In that case, you don't need to bother with an online USCIS account. But honestly, I would highly recommend just doing it online, because it saves a lot of time and it prevents a lot of potential mistakes that you can make in the paper application. Just rather not deal with it. It's much better to just create an online account and deal with all of that than sending it by mail and then having a risk of it returning back to you saying that, you need to make a correction here, there, you didn't put in here, you didn't put in. You don't want to deal with that. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Jody Turner 54771. If you change your address at USCIS, will the address change on green card? Excellent question, Jody. Thank you very much for asking. So here's the thing. If your green card application is still in process, right? If you have submitted, whether it is, initial green card application or if it is like a renewal application, in that case, yes, it will update because it is still with USCIS. But the address that is attached, it really is not attached to the green card itself. That's the thing. Like the permanent residence card doesn't really have the address attached besides the address that was provided to the USCIS whenever the application was made. Again, whether initial or the renewal. Okay, so with that being said, you really don't need to worry about updating the address on the green card, in quotes, right? But because you are, you're a permanent resident, so you're still on your basically immigration journey. So however the immigration journey started, whether it's marriage, whether it's DV lottery, whether it's employment, whether it's family reunification, whatever, it doesn't matter. It ends when you are becoming a US citizen. So you go through that ceremony and you get your naturalization certificate. That's it. Your immigrant journey done. All right. You're still an immigrant, but now you're a naturalized US citizen. So you're done with dealing with immigration. So up until that process, anywhere in between, if you do update your address, yes, you do have to send an AR-11. I think it is AR-11. Let me double check because I already mentioned it one time in this. Yes, AR-11, online change of address card, all right, which you can file online, which I highly would. I mean, it's very simple. You don't even need to create an online account to file this particular form. This is, I think, the only form that you can file online without creating online account with USCIS. And I'm saying it like I know for a fact, but they might have updated it because the last time I did it was like years ago. So maybe now you do need to register online account. But regardless, you don't need to worry about changing the address that is attached to green card because there isn't one, but you still do want to send AR-11 to USCIS and update them with your new address, because you will be further dealing with USCIS regardless whenever it's time to file your naturalization application. Okay, so hopefully I was able to answer your question. Let me post the answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from user IG6EW. My partner and my kids just got to the US last week. He is waiting for his green card and he wants to petition me. He is planning to go back to the Philippines to marry me. We did not get married because he was petitioned by his parents and it took 13 years to go to the US. Ah, I see. Now he said that once he get his green card, he will go back and marry me. So how long do I need to wait to go to the US? And by the way, he's not citizen yet, just green card. Okay, so your partner and kids just got to the US last week. Okay, so here's the thing. The moment he went through the interview and got the I-551 stamp in the passport, based on the family reunification petition that was filed by their parents, he was already a permanent resident, right? So immigrant visa, the I-551 stamp, is also a temporary permanent residence card once you do enter the country. So technically, that's it. He can literally come back now from the US with his 551 stamp because it is now a temporary permanent residence card. That's it. He's already a permanent resident. Come back to Philippines, marry you, and go back to the US or stay in the Philippines, whatever. He can't stay too long in the Philippines because you do have the limitation as a permanent resident. You can't live outside of the United States for longer than a certain amount of time, okay? And, just start a case. Is going to be F2A category, which does take some time. If you look at the visa bulletin right now, the cases that are getting their immigrant visas are from February 2019, which is about 3.5 years, if I'm okay with my math. So yeah, 3.5, and for Philippines it's the same thing, about 3.5 years, roughly. Which can speed up, it can slow down, so this is not a guarantee that this is how it's going to stay for the next 3.5 years, but as of right now, this is what we are looking at. So there is some time to wait, of course. So the sooner you guys do all of that, obviously the better, it will be. Here's the thing, however, that's the thing though, because I do understand why you are in this situation, because he was going as unmarried under the parents' petition. If he was going as married, then you guys would have been waiting way longer than what he'd been waiting for, which already took 13 years, which is crazy. But you would have been waiting much longer than that. So I understand the situation, but still you do have some time to wait for the petition, for his petition now to be approved and transferred to the NVC, and you becoming documentarily qualified and you going through the interview. So the sooner you guys do it, obviously it would be better. So hopefully it all works out for you. Hopefully my answer was helpful. Let's move on to the next one from Zohaji 4325. My old documents were approved on Saturday, June 11, 2022. Congratulations. I want to know which month is now working on. Okay, so it really depends, Zohaji, on which category you're in. Let me know which category you're in. If you are in the immediate relative category, then we're not dealing with the backlog at all. If you're in one of the 4 family preference categories, then we're dealing with the backlog. And depending on which category you're in, depending on which chargeability area you're from, obviously it will be different. So let me know a little bit more details. I need 3 things in order to provide estimates with the visa bulletin. I need to know the priority date, I need to know the category, and I need to know the chargeability area, and I will be able to give you rough estimates. Okay, moving further to Sagar Patel. Sagar, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. I appreciate that. So Sagar says, why they issue 14954? Okay, so 14,954 F2B visas to Santo Domingo in single fiscal year. What reason behind it to issue this huge number of visas to F2B category in this country? This country only making trouble for movement in F1 and F2B category in visa bulletin. Sagar, honestly, I would not be able to answer this question for you, unfortunately, because this is really now we're talking more about, you know, the politics and you know, the Department of Homeland Security and Department of State on how much they decide to issue to who. But I'm thinking it has to do with a general immigration traffic. So the more there is immigration traffic from a certain country, the more typically you will see amount of visas that are issued for that particular country. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, there's also programs, and you know, sometimes it really is hard to tell. It really is hard to tell why a certain country gets more visas. But like I said, it's most likely that it has to do with general traffic. Yeah, the more traffic, the more visas. Again, it might not make sense, a lot of sense for the countries that are, you know, have their separate chargeability areas. But again, it comes down to the politics. It comes down to the decisions that these people make. How many visas, you know. Here's a question for you. Why did US Congress decide that they will issue 226,000 visas each year? Why is it 226,000 each year? Why not 200,000? Why not 365,000 for each day? Why 226,000? You know, the questions like this it really is. We probably will never be able to answer them, and probably the politicians will never be able to answer them. So I'm sorry, I can't really say. Okay, moving further to the next one from Saint E. Camiller 8012. Thank you for your video. Could I complete the application online and send in the evidence at a later date? So the question was asked on I-589 application for asylum. Sanika, I'm assuming Sanika Miller. So Sanika, yes, you absolutely can do that. I would definitely not recommend doing that because you are delaying the case purposefully. Basically, when you do that, you're sending a blank application that an immigration officer will have to get to open it. So you're sending it in, it's there, it's in line, it's waiting to be reviewed by the immigration officer, and then finally immigration officer reviews it, realizes that it doesn't have any evidence, and just puts it on the back table, sends the request for evidence. You get the request in the mail, you collect all the documents, you send it back, you wait again for them to. It's unnecessary. You create all these steps, and the more steps you create, the more potential for delays, for confusion, for mistakes. Honestly, I would not recommend to do that. Unless you are in absolute emergency and you need to file the application right now and you are waiting for the evidence to come back from the country where you came from, and it's going to take another 2-3 months and you just don't have that time. In that case, yes, absolutely, you can definitely do that. But again, if you can avoid that, I would highly recommend avoiding doing that. Okay, so let me post the answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Akinade Mosesi Bukun. Good day, and how are you doing today? Thank you for asking. Doing great. I appreciate you for the amazing videos. Thank you for watching. I am Nigerian and I documentarily qualified on 5th of May 2023. Visa class CR1. Nice, congratulations. So immediate relative. Priority date is 12th March 2022. When do you think my interview will be scheduled? Thanks for your reply. So don't worry about the visa bulletin whatsoever. You don't need to worry about your priority date either, because that's it. You are CR1 conditional resident, which is within the immediate relative category. All right, so you were documentarily qualified on May. Typically, like I've been saying earlier, for immediate relative categories, most of the times it's about 6 months that you wait for your interview to be scheduled after you become documentarily qualified. Personally, for me, it took 9 months. I've seen some people that it took about a year, some people even a year and a half. Very rare cases. Most of the times it's like either crazy busy area, like in Islamabad embassy, like they are, they just, I don't know, I guess I mean, maybe the embassy is small and the immigration traffic is huge, but they take forever over there. They take a long time over there. But most of the times it's about 6 months. Okay, so you've been already documentarily qualified on May 2023. So it's been like 5 months already you've been waiting for, pretty much a little bit more than 5 months, almost 6 months actually. So you're really close. Honestly, I'm not sure how busy Nigerian embassy is. Another thing I would definitely recommend you do as well, like I recommended somebody earlier. There you go, the US Embassy in Abuja. Give them a call. Give them a call and say, hey guys, you know, I've been documentarily qualified for a while now. I'm in immediate relative category. I wanted to see when my interview was scheduled for, because I am 90% sure that it has been already scheduled. You just don't know it because it's still more than a month ahead. You might get it by the end of this year. I'm thinking you might get it by the end of this year. If not by the end of this year, beginning of next year. But again, it depends on how busy Nigerian embassy is. Give them a call. It's worth a shot. Don't be upset if they don't give you any information. Don't argue. Obviously, that should go without saying. Don't ever argue with anyone that has to do with USCIS, Department of State, government, whatever. Leave them be. Let them be. If they don't give you the information, that's fine. But it should be pretty close now. Okay, let's move on to the next one from LMT Coach Adele. LMT Coach Adele, thank you so much for another comment. Appreciate that, and thank you for being a public subscriber. So Coach Adele says, thank you so much for all of your information. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. I have a question. My green card renewal will be affected. My green card renewal will be affected since I was denied naturalization. Please let me know. Okay, so Coach Adele, it really depends on the reason behind the denial of naturalization. Here's the thing. If it's something, you know, minuscule, you know, there was a mistake in the application, the fee was not paid, or something along those lines, then no, absolutely not. Of course, your green card renewal is not, you're not going to have any problems. However, if the denial of your naturalization application has to do with something more serious, like, I don't know, we are talking like some criminal history or something along those lines, something that came up that they didn't like during the review of your application, during the, you know, the background check, during the interview. It depends on which stage your application was denied on. In that case, yes, it might come up during the green card renewal for sure. So if it's something minor, I wouldn't worry about it. You know, you renew your green card if you don't have enough time to do the to reapply for naturalization. But if it is something a little bit more concerning, like I've been mentioning, you know, something with you know, the background check or something along those lines, then yes, I would, you know, I would be a little bit weary. Is that the word? I don't know if that's the word. Probably it's not the word. I would definitely seek help from an immigration attorney before sending, you know, the green card renewal application, or maybe send in the green card renewal application, you know, without attorney, because you would have to do it regardless, whether with attorney or not. It doesn't matter. You still have to do the renewal. But be prepared. At least start doing your research on a good attorney in the area, so that if you do have a problem with the renewal, which might be the case, again, if it's a serious reason for the denial of the naturalization application, so that you have someone to call to, an immigration attorney, and, you know, say, hey, you know, yes, it became a problem. I do need your help, and I need you to step in. So I would start looking for one, and yeah, I do have a video on this channel, how to find a good immigration attorney. I'll probably do another one, updated one, just because I've been getting a lot of comments, you know, on this channel about situations that people get into and suffer because of immigration attorneys. And I've been through similar scenarios myself, and I've seen a lot of people go through it myself. So it's really important. It's extremely important. Like, you know, you wouldn't just hire a random person to build your house, and building a house is not even as important as going through the immigration process. Like immigration process, like it can ruin you, it can destroy you, you know. So you definitely want to make sure that you are doing everything the right, as much as possible, the right way, without any, you know, creating any issues, without creating any confusion. And if you do need to deal with, you know, the system, you have someone you can call and say, hey, I need you to step in. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Ozigwe Rachel. Hello sir, 3 months ago we got a mail from NVC for me to resubmit my passport, which I did, and it has been accepted, but there's another challenge. My husband's I-864 was asked to be resubmitted, which we have done, but I don't know how long this one is going to take. So Ozigwe Rachel, that was already answered earlier, so I'm gonna pass the response here, and let's move on to another one for today. Len Grace Vergara 7336. Hi, new subscriber here. I have a daughter who is here in the US and want to take her 5-year-old daughter here. So the first step to do is to file an application for my I-130. Thanks, hope you could respond to this. So let's see. I have a daughter who is here in the US and wants to take her 5-year-old daughter here. Okay, so it really depends on the status of your daughter. So if she is a US citizen, then honestly, I don't think she even need to bother with the I-130. I think she can just file the, I think she might be able to file, I forgot the name of that application, but I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna add it to my response here. After I end this video, I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna add it to the response. Basically, where a parent is a US citizen and the child is a child, you know, under 21, that you can just, you know, file basically without waiting, and it's gonna be there is an application for that. But if she's a permanent resident, then she would have to go through the whole I-130, I think. Again, I'm gonna check and I'm gonna add it to the response in this comment. But it might be a little bit more difficult if she's none of that. So I have a daughter who is here in the US and wants to take. So let me know if you can. If you can, please let me know in a follow-up comment what the status of your what status your daughter is in, because that's really kind of the determining factor. But I will look up these forms and I will add them to the comment so that you can check on them yourself and see if any of them work. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching this video, for all your questions. Hopefully my answers were helpful. You know, if you do have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Just make sure not to post your questions, comments underneath my comment, because the YouTube does not send me notifications for those. Just post them as a separate comment under any video and I will find them. So thanks so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.